Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summit presentation of the iLeague Season 3 Dota 2 Chinese qualifiers. Here in the group stage, we're looking at Game 2 of a two-game series between Ehome and Energy Pacemaker. Now, the first game was quite fun, Energy Pacemaker taking it 1-0. And I have just got to say that I am a fan of Fan's fantastic Phantom Lancer. He showed off some fancy footwork, and I'm fantasizing about him picking it up again, but we'll see. For now, the Phase 1 draft is going to be just the Undying Spear Breaker opener from the side of Energy Pacemaker here in 6.84, and Bristleback Lina comes through for Ehome. This is still like day 2 for China of 6.84, and well, let's see what they've learned so far. Adapting a little bit here, they're showing the strength of the Undying. Bristleback picked up, I hope not as a counter to the Undying, because that doesn't actually work too well. But by himself, he's a very strong hero. Bristleback is a good hero just naturally, but he does not counteract the Tombstone zombies like he used to. Tombstone zombies used to die to physical damage, like quill sprays, like counter helix, like acid spray. Now, they only die to right clicks. I think maybe flat cannon and glaives and stuff like that can still hit them, but as far as actually quill spraying them, not so much. So Bristleback's gonna have to just rely on natural tankiness, stay in the fight for a long time, chew on some mangoes, and keep the quill sprays rolling. But in the meantime, they also pick up Lina, which is really good in the hands of both Penny Tang and DDC. Whether in the mid or in the supportive role, I am very confident in Ehome when they have Lina on their side. Don't have quick stuns though against the Spear Breaker. I talked about this last draft, but Spear Breaker really good when he can connect with those charges, and yeah, I think that they have some real potential to do so with the heroes they're up against right now. Bristleback and Lina really have a hard time stopping that charge if they don't see it coming in advance. So we'll see. Right now, Clockwork and Shadowfiend banned out for the side of Energy Pacemaker. Obviously, we saw some good SF play there from Penny Tang. Was actually the saving grace for the early game for Ehome. Otherwise, it would have been a very one-sided match in favor of Energy Pacemaker entirely. But beyond that, the Clockwork, I guess just RTK. I mean, they're not afraid of his Tide. It wasn't all that impressive in Game 1, but the Clockwork is something that could give them some difficulty, especially if Spear Breaker's relying on getting in and out of the fights on his own terms. Clockwork hookshot will stop the charge, obviously they can put the cogs in and he can't Empowering Haste away. That kind of stuff really limits his potential, and him against battery cells is actually hilarious. It's just like roar, roar, rearing back up on his legs over and over again, but unable to connect with another strike as he would. So a good ban out on the Clockwork, just kind of based on the heroes that they have. But Energy Pacemaker have a lot of potential to go for like an aggro try or just a very high tempo lineup where the Undying can really start rolling over his opponents. With the new Tombstone, with the just ability to go for mass decay stacks with extra mana. There's two reasons why Undying has more mana in 6.84. First of all, once again, the Enchanted Mango is an item that's really good for Undying for decay spam, but also because Arcane Boots are 100 gold cheaper, and they're pretty core for the hero. So being able to pick those up is going to be pretty nice. And yeah, the Rubik is going to be coming through for Ehome, so it looks like it might be the Lanham DDC Rubik Lina roaming duo, but there it is. Fan's Phantom Lancer coming out again. Man, that is going to be fun. But yeah, we're going to be seeing Rubik having the potential to steal abilities like Tombstone, Flesh Golem, Charge, Nether Strike, that kind of thing will be pretty solid. Decay would be pretty interesting too. He gets really big, really fast. His model size increases dramatically, but I don't know if that's really that strong. I mean, you take away from the Undying and Spear Breaker's damage output, but that's about it. Phantom Lancer, though, I'm going to be looking to carry this game out, but now that Ehome know what they're up against, I think they're going to draft more directly against it. Anchor Smash was really the only counter they had last game against Phantom Lancer, but here it is, boys. Oh, I'm so excited. It is going to be Carry Leshrac in the hands of ZYF. So they're going to put RTK in the Bristleback, they're going to put Leshrac in the carry role, and they're going to be able to build him up to a really good AoE damage dealer that I think will be able to deal with pretty much everything Energy Pacemaker are bringing. He will be a little bit weak to the Diffusal Blade though. Phantom Lancer, once he gets that item, is going to be burning through a lot of Leshrac's mana, and so it's going to be important that maybe Leshrac picks up a Black King bar. But the Brewmaster is an interesting counter too. Just using the Tornado, throwing him up in the air, taking him out of the fight, could be a way to deal with him as well. So pretty good pickup for Old Chicken for the mid.
5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team pick.
So the Ember Spirit's going to be the ban out for Energy Pacemaker. And actually, the no ban strat from Ehome. I didn't get that for a second. I was a little confused, but their reserve time ticked down to 0, so they get no ban for their final phase here. Ember will be taken up by Energy Pacemaker, but Sven, the last pick, and I might be wrong about that Leshrac. At this point, I would say maybe a mid-Lesh could work out pretty well. I don't think they want the Sven to match up against the Brewmaster, so I think it's safe lane carry Sven, mid Leshrac, off lane Bristle, and Lina and Rubik roaming where they're needed. I feel like that's probably the best way to represent this here. And they do have some great ways to deal with the PL illusions now, that's for sure. Sven Cleave, Stormhammer, obviously everything Leshrac brings other than the Edict is AoE oriented. And yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty strong draft from Ehome to deal with the Phantom Lancer. But we'll see if they're able to kind of slug it out before they get farmed. That's the big thing. Leshrac and Sven, I feel I need quite a bit of farm to get going. And it may not come, but we'll see. Right now it's going to be Disruptor as the final pick of our Energy Pacemaker. So their 2 supports are going to be Disruptor and Undying. And we'll see how aggro they really choose to get. Because they could run like a safe lane Spirit Breaker and then go for an aggro try. Or they could run an aggro duo and have Undying Spirit Breaker top and then Disruptor Phantom Lancer bot. So that should be pretty interesting. So it's DDC support Leshrac. Alright. That's interesting. I mean, obviously I mentioned how good Lina is in the hands of Penny Tang. He really knows what he's doing with the hero, but I don't really feel like Leshrac is that much stronger in a supportive role. He's a little bit stronger. He did get buffed. I'll mention the Lightning Storm. Let me look it up real quick. The movement speed increase of 5. Lightning Storm cast point reduced by 0.1 seconds. And the slow duration scales a little bit better as you rank it up. But support Leshrac usually doesn't go for max Lightning Storm. It usually goes for like a 4-4 build. And doesn't really get items to stay in the fight long enough to keep on spamming spells. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he goes for like a 4-1-4 type thing, and that could be a little bit different here. But if he doesn't max out Lightning Storm, then he doesn't really take advantage of the 6.84 hero, and the Lightning Storm just generally isn't picked up by the support Lesh with the weaker mana pool. So I like the idea of him being able to scale well into the mid to late game, but I don't think that if he's not given farm, he's going to be able to do that very well. Like, it would take like 50 minutes for him to become a real hero, and these are not 50-minute game, guys. I haven't actually cast a 6.84 game that went past 45 minutes, I don't think. So, you know, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty active, but we're going to see some mangoes. 1 mango for the Sven, 1 mango for the Disruptor. I don't think the Disruptor will eat it himself, though. I think he will be giving this to an ally in the future, but we'll keep our eyes on it for now. Thanks once again for tuning in to the iLeague Chinese Qualifiers. Here, Game 2 of this 2-game series. EP up 1-0, and let's start it off. We're going to see the Bounty Rune go to BOA, or Penny Tang, on the Lina. Unofficial member of Ehome, kind of listed as a stand-in, but man, he has been doing so much work. I can't imagine they're not going to pick him up in place of Inflame. But Old Chicken is going to be able to pick up the Bounty Rune himself and get that bottle out in just 50 gold. So whereas Penny Tang, she's going to be banking for a while, and that Bounty Rune is just a good way to get to level 2 faster. For the Brewmaster, that's going to allow him to get that much more mana out. So he's going to get the Haze. That's a 45% miss chance against the Lina here, and it's kind of frustrating for her trying to attack and trade hits with the Brew. She can't last hit as easily without her spells, and that's just in general a point of frustration. Old Chicken knows he can't contest the wave until it's under his tower, so he uses this tool to make it really annoying for the Lina, and just tries to get his mana back with the bottle ASAP. So up top, we're going to be seeing this aggro duo I was talking about, Undying and Spirit Breaker up here in the top lane. Both have stout shields, both really capable of bullying back DDC, at level 2 in particular. Once the Spirit Breaker has a greater bow skill, he's going to have some real potential kind of fighting back in this lane, and he'll probably have like Decay and Tombstone. They might just go Decay and the heal, but we'll see. We're going to see right clicks coming out. But, yeah, old Jacob will get his bottle. And he actually goes ahead and just quarries it out immediately back to the base. We're going to see a stun come out onto Spiritbreaker. They're going to combine it with the Split Earth here. No heal just yet from Lei. But Spiritbreaker's so damn tanky. He's just going to charge forward with the Magic Stick. No, that was not the play, unfortunately. Maybe if he charges out and hits one of Lena's creeps, then they get something as far as an escape goes. But they chain the stun up so well, Ehome are able to pick up that kill and move on forward. They're in a much better spot here. We're going to see a glimpse back onto RTK here. Can they get another Spirit Lance? A lot of damage coming in. The Stout Shield block's doing a lot of work, though. One more right click, not going to come through. Oh, so close. But the Stout Shield is too good against illusions early, and there's no global damage to bring down RTK. Oh, man, that was close. That was very, very close. If the Phantom Lancer was level 3, definitely a kill, but as it is, RTK makes it out just barely alive. So DDC does go for Lightning Storm. It is going to be taking advantage of the buffs here in 6.84, and we'll have to see what skill build the new Leshrac will be looking for. But Lanham is invis. Old Chicken wasting his clap already. He's going to not be under tower, though. They're trying to set up the Light Strike array and actually missed that, so not really the best combo between those two heroes. Usually look for the chain stun at the very least, if not pulling them into the tower and stunning them there, but that was the awkward exchange that keeps just Penny Tang alive. But I think he was baiting it, so didn't have to be in that situation in the first place. So just going to be looking at rotation back up top here. Undying could be a nice target here. Both of them have Magic Sticks and Stout Shield, so they're pretty tanky, pretty tough to deal with, but all still going to be able to do a lot of damage with these spells. The Lightning Storm, the Split Earth, and the Storm Hammer. And he's got that Mango, so he's got 2 stuns back to back if he needs it, and they're walking pretty far forward here. This should be an opening for them to go in. Just who do they want to go on right now? Just right-clicking, harassing for now, but I could definitely see a kill happening very, very shortly. Keep our eyes peeled. So let's just talk about last hits until that actually breaks out here. We've got Penny Tang missing some last hits with the Drunken Haze, but still topping the charts at 22 and 1. The dual lane on top has messed up the Sven enough that he's actually falling behind the Drunken Lena, and that's a 17 and 9 for the Sven. So PL pulls ahead of him, 21 and 4, and here's that stun combo I was looking for. As soon as I look away, we see the Tombstone drop down, charge against Lanham, but the stuns are locking down the Spirit Breaker, and he can't stay on target. He will be going down, and I think that might get the Undying too. There's going to be a rotation here, glimpsing back the Leshrac. He'll be going down, and if only they had a Mango, maybe they pursue, but no. They have the Mango on the Disruptor. They just popped the Clarities, and looks like that's going to be the end of it. Just a Spirit Breaker for a Leshrac trade, and this frees up the Spirit Breaker to charge mid and see if he can do anything to the Lena here. So we'll see. Leshrac probably predicts this movement pretty easily, and the Dire Observer comes out, so they're going to see it, but they're still going to connect with some spells, and they're still going to do some good damage here. Split Earth will hit on the Spirit Breaker, just the one, but they're going to turn it with some good magic damage. The Laguna Blade brings on the Brewmaster. Great target choice, and he's not going to go down to the Spirit Breaker. Now the bottle sips, keeping Penny Tang alive. The Split Earth locking down the Disruptor. It's a triple kill for Penny Tang. Oh, man. The rotation from the Disruptor is just a little too delayed. And that was a beautiful combo between the Leshrac and the Lena. The strength of these heroes, Bristleback actually kills off the Phantom Lancer in the process as it becomes a 1v1 lane. And the Phantom Lancer just can't get away fast enough. No goo either. It's just Quill Sprays. It's just walking them down with Quill Sprays. But we're going to see the pullback onto the Undying. So until then, I can't really recap what happened in the mid lane, but we see the charge up top. We see the Tombstone going down. The last hit gold going to DDC, and now the Spirit Breaker unable to pursue further. So just to sum up what happened there in the mid, the big thing here is the cooldowns on the stuns for the Leshrac and Lena are very short. There's a 1.6 second stun with only a 7 second cooldown, and the Leshrac has a 9 second cooldown and his 2 second stun, so they can lock down their enemies pretty hardcore. They kill off, they bring the Spirit Breaker low quickly. They have all these AoE stuns, so it's really hard for 2 melee heroes to group up. And then the big thing, I think, was the decision to Laguna, not the lower HP target, which was the Spirit Breaker, but the more important kill target, which was the Brewmaster. Killing him off made the Spirit Breaker easy pickings. He did get a nice bash, but that just baited him in further. And the Disruptor coming in, he couldn't do enough damage while against the bottle sips. So Really big action there, and across the board, Ehome just prosper. You just look at kills right now, 3-0 for the Lina, 1-0-1 for Lanham.
Are fortified.
And just overall, some great plays from Ehome, bringing back this early game hard. BL's not doing too shabby at 2170 net worth, but still dwarfed quite a bit by the 2300 Sven up top with his treads, and then, of course, the Lina at 3750. So I already talked about the strength of the lineup in terms of AoE damage and control. They have just tons of that. But we're also going to be seeing some cool aspects coming out from the Sven buffs. If you look at Warcry's scaling now, he's going for a stats build, so we're not going to see him maxing it immediately. But it's a 20 armor buff, guys. 20 armor buff that you can have up 8 out of every 14 seconds. Yeah, you have your team just pretty much nullifying all the physical damage coming in, and it's going to be the magic that actually takes them down. So we'll see, actually, the Undying getting a good stun here onto taken from the Sven. The Leshrac does miss a Split Earth, though, so that's going to be them kind of retreating for the moment. Fade Bolt, Lightning Storm, bouncing around, but looks like there will be no kills.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
The Brewmaster, he really wants to use this split. He's got a haster, and he can just haste in for the clap. They're baiting it in with the Spirit Breaker, but he might go down the process. So Old Chicken, he gets his combo, but really, there's no room for a split here. If he uses it, he doesn't accomplish anything, and DDC will just TP away. So, in this position, I mean, the Disruptor really can't do much to control the game. He wants to, like, pull people back, glimpse them into a bad spot, but right now, Ehome are taking the fight to EP, and they can barely disengage. They can barely survive. Now we're going to see a charge and a glimpse back on RTK. He should be going down here, but you never know. Kinetic Field does lock him in. He'll be lanced, he'll be right-clicked, and the Spirit Breaker charge absolutely guarantees this kill. But we're going to see Sven coming in, Warhammer turning around. They will get LT in the process. RTK does go down, but ZOYF running away with the Warcry, and it looks like he might get away. 5 seconds on that stun, but the clap, the crit, it brings him too low, too fast, and the stun, it finally comes, but it doesn't hit on the PL. So, going to be seeing 4 kills now in favor of EP, evening the odds a little bit, closing that gap, and bringing themselves into a more successful laning configuration. The Blink Dagger on Brewmaster is only 600 gold away, and that's going to be a really big deal. Penny Tang, Laguna Blade looking for it, just needs a little bit more damage on Lei, but doesn't connect with the Light Strike Array. So right now we do see Spirit Breaker going for the Earnest Shadows. Any other major items coming out here? I'm sure Sven is making some gold here. Just 280. He's gone for the Magic Wand. Treads will be coming out for everybody. Tier 2 boots across the board. But really no big items coming out anytime soon. I'll look at current gold. The Blink Dagger I mentioned. The Yule Scepter, obviously, for the Lina, will be her next choice after this Null Tally, Bottle, Magic Wand, and Phase Boot. But really, other than that, the item progression is pretty weak here at 10 minutes. Like, nothing really big coming out. Still, Fan has just a nice kind of bread and butter set. I mean, even if it's not the most flashy items, the Aquila Treads, they help the hero a lot in terms of progression. Lano is only going to be stealing Empowering Haste, so although a little bit faster on his feet at 402 MS and having a quick burst potential, with the Empowering Haste active, it's not the best spell to steal initially. Certainly not. As far as good spells to steal this game, Glimpse obviously has its merits. The Undying Tombstone and Flesh Golem are really big. Spirit Lance is not too bad. And the Brew Split and Clap are the big ones. We're going to see a dual smoke coming out here. Triple smoke, actually, with Penny Tang bringing up the rear. So this is going to be RTK farming with Quill Sprays while his allies make their move, and they should be able to find an opportunity here on the mid lane. We're going to see Spirit Breaker, level 6, pretty good kill for them to focus on, and Lanham will start things off with the lift. So lift, followed up by the, just a quick Split Earth and Light Strike Array. I was actually surprised they just went for the ultimate there, and they're going to be glimpsed back. Now with no ulti on Penny Tang, he's going to be taking a lot of damage here. The Primal Split does not come out in time, though. So it is going to be a 2-for-1, and RTK looking to kind of dive a little bit here. Will get hit by the Spirit Lance with the Bristleback, turn back, probably needs to use his Magic Stick pretty quickly here. He's maxed out charges. But yeah, as you can see, the Undying Zombie's not taking too much damage here. So, I mean, taking that fight, taking 2 for 1, pretty good exchange for Ehome, but not really farming too much in the interim. They forced the rotation of the Phantom Lancer though, so I suppose that kind of makes it same for both sides. ZYF here, looking for perhaps a Mask of Madness, pretty good item for him. Just get on target and attack fast. And it looks like it is going to be combo stun here. We're going to see the Stormhammer into Light Strike Ray onto the Undying. Nice charge, but still a lot of damage going up against the Undying. Nether Strike onto Pennytang. He's got the Laguna, but it's going to be the split that goes out against him. He'll be stunned out by the Brewmaster and drop down. Finally, the split comes out, gets them a solo kill. That's what they need. They just need 1 or 2 kills going their way, and even if that costs them a 2-minute cooldown, it's going to be worth it. Old Chicken gets his blink off of that. Now they could go for a blink play with the charge. Yeah, blink clap, right clicks, RTK in a really bad spot here. He'll go down very quickly, and that's gonna be nice. Gonna see Sven do some hits here. Gonna get rocked down. Oh, the Drunken Haze actually keeping alive for a little bit longer, but in the end, we're gonna be seeing the Sven actually caught in with the Tombstone. It's on Blandham's Tombstone too. He's stolen Flesh Golem and Tombstone here, and he's using both of them in this fight. Fan and our old chicken right-clicking down the Tombstone of Lanham, but they're all locked in with all these zombies. Earnest Shadows ticking the Brewmaster low, but it is going to be Lanham to go down in the end. It's a 4 for 1 right now. And that's a killing spree actually ended by the Spirit Breaker. But Fan trying to disengage. Pennytang connects with the Laguna Blade. The Light Strike Array, however, will not hit the Spirit Breaker. So getting caught under the tower in the Static Storm. But he'll charge forward and he's got the Light Strike Array onto LT. He'll get the kill there. RTK now charging forward. No Viscous Nasal Goo. The Nether Strike onto Pennytang. And that is going to be another kill for EP. There's going to be a Stormhammer. There's going to be an Undying Tombstone. And that is going to be where they play Ring Around the Rosie a little bit here. Trying to bring down this Tombstone. RTK is being slowed. Too many zombies on him and the Quill Sprays do nothing. But finally, the Tombstone will fall. And that is going to be a very hot and heavy exchange that favors EP pretty heavily. They were able to take down multiple heroes. Obviously these 5, but I believe a few were killed off twice even. And that's just all the more impressive. Because Pennytang, she respawned in the TP top. So she was definitely killed off right before that fight. And then killed off a second time there, man. It's just been wild. It has been very involved, these 2 games. And I'm curious if this is what we can start expecting from 6.84. People just, 2 teams upping the tempo of the game and trying to go for kills more than passive farming. I mean, that's what it implies to me with the fact that the creeps give less gold, the heroes give more. But we'll see. Right now, net worth, just barely favoring Ehome. Experience, dead even. Man, this game, it's getting pretty crazy here. We're going to see, it looks like, is that going to just be a Drum of Endurance? I mean, no tier 2 boots yet on the Brewmaster. Usually you'd see phase boots on him first, but he's got a robe of the Magi, so we'll see what he's got in store for us. Could be the Blade Mail build again for the Spirit Breaker. It's going to be a mech build from RTK, so that should be pretty interesting. Mech is usually one of those items that you're a little worried about your mana issues on Bristleback. So trying to build that up, it's a good item to have. Again, I talked about this on the Tide, but he's got to manage his mana very carefully. He's also got to find the item, and in order to do that, he should avoid death as best he can. He does finish the mechanism, but it looks like he will go down here. Spirit Breaker to take the last hit. So he still gets his mechanism, doesn't lose any gold, but obviously still a successful gank for EP and showing off this Radiant Observer Ward here. An interesting one at that. But we'll look at top. We'll see the Flesh Golem come through. The Tombstone connects. And it's going to be Sven to just look for the TP away. There's no bash, but there is a glimpse. And now ZYF is caught out by himself under the Tombstone. The Warcry will not get him away fast enough. And they even catch DDC with the split and Kinetic Field. So great combo there. Finding 3 kills for absolutely nothing. And they're going to take the tier 1 tower off of this. Really good stuff. Phantom Lancer down bottom is going to be under some pressure here. Just knowing 2 heroes are off the map, but other than stacking, it looks like they're not accomplishing too much. Pennytang getting a double damage rune. One of 3 runes that could be enabling her to be very aggressive here, but less surprising. Like, I mean, generally speaking, you're already worried about Lina's damage. She's not going to go invis and be able to get the Yules off, so... Yeah, Yules, the Invis or Haste would allow her to get into the Phantom Lancer's close proximity and get the Yules off, and then she could go for the combo. But in this case, we're going to see RTK push out pretty far forward, but the Agi treads on. He's going to get caught in the kinetic static and bashed out of it, actually, by the Spirit Breaker. Glimpse back in. He'll go down with the mech. He's doing some good physical damage in the meantime, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to return anything but a half HP bar. In fact, the Urn of Shadows comes back out, and Spirit Breaker is going to be nearly full HP at the end of it. So, I mean, good damage from the Bristleback. 1,000 damage put out, but it's still like a 4v2 that they just couldn't really do enough with. So, RTK farming too far forward, getting punished for it, and they might be able to get another tier 1 tower. But I think Ehome look to contest this one. They've got 4 heroes with some really good AoE stuns. Let's see what they can do. Penny Tang starting with the Dragon Slave. Fan breaking down the trees, just getting vision so they know exactly how to take this fight. But it's actually a stolen glimpse from the Rubik, pulling back the Spirit Breaker. The telekinesis pulls him back further. Nice glimpse of bringing the Lina out, but still, Spirit Breaker's the one to survive. They just can't lock him down with the Laguna Blade as much as they want to. They do get the Yules onto the PL, though. The Light Striker Ray is dodged by the Doppelganger, and Fan walks away. So, despite their best efforts and 5 defending the tower, they don't actually get any kills in return, and the split's cooling down. They'll go for a smoke. They'll go for an aggro play. And these are really weird wards. What are these? Loft Watchers. They're birds or something. Wings and tokens and other weird things flying around. I have no idea what that is. Actually, in the pit, we're going to find Penny Tang. Self-Yule's not going to save you here, man. And he will be just charged, brought down. RTK, all by himself, too. They're going to use the mechanism, maybe, but that's about it. Lina's dead. The Bristleback's dead. They just can't position themselves to take these fights. And, in fact, a tornado on the front line here catches out Rubik. Nice micro from the Brewmaster here. Really good play from Old Chicken. Getting the Windwalk forward to get the tornado, or Cyclone, rather, and locking it down Mr. Rubik. So with that, they don't even bother with Roshan. They just say take the tier 1 pretty easy, and it's just them taking a massive kill lead off of a bunch of unnecessary pickoffs. ZYF is the only one that's really holding his ground, playing it safe. Everybody else is like out in the middle of the lanes and out in Roche and all this stuff. It's just, it's unforced errors, but it seems to some extent that Ehome are a bit on tilt. They feel like they need to make up for lost ground in this game, but it's been a rough ride for them. They've been taking a lot of big hits, and they're dropping. They were topping out so good with that triple kill that Penny Tang got, but suddenly EP just build up some momentum, put pedal to metal, and they're going to be continuing to go on a killing spree. Looking for Penny Tang here. He's got the Yules, so should be able to avoid the Spirit Breaker pretty well here, and he'll be fine. So, Phantom Lancer diffusively coming out at 19.5 minutes, along with a standard core of Aquila and Drums. Wow, that is actually really good timing for Fan. A very active game, but he still managed to find 106 last hits without, like, the cleave. Now RTK caught inside the tombstone here. They may be second-guessing their first pick Bristleback, because this hero's done nothing this game. They're going to get the mech out, but he's still going down. Penny Tang caught in the static kinetic, and he's done for. This is almost looking like GG already. They just keep on finding these 5v2 picks. It's not even, like, Glimpse is great to find those openings, but it's not even that. They're just getting charged and run at. Now, again, they're trying to defend, like, with 2 heroes constantly. What in the world is going on in this game with Ehome? They keep on trying it. It's not going to work. We're going to see Landon now pursued up to the high ground. They're being dove past their tier 3s, and they're being picked off one by one. They're literally trying to defend their towers 2 at a time, up against 5, up against Glimpse, up against Charge. They're Blink Daggers. They're being jumped on, initiated on, and they have absolutely no way to respond. This is just completely uncharacteristic of Ehome's players. Like, I mean, to say it's uncharacteristic of Ehome is hard to say because of how young the roster still is, but I've been casting RTK, DDC, Lanham for so very long, and the positioning and tactical errors that they're representing here in this game are just something that you never see from them. They're usually just so suave, so smart, moving all over the map in the perfect position to find the perfect opening, and instead they're just looking like I don't want to flame them, but they are looking pretty bad. A BKB coming out from the Sven, 10-second BKB, looking to try to turn the tide here, but they have got to take a fight together. Smoke a deceit, get something going. It's going to be a two-man smoke into the Roche pit is my assumption. They can't really go anywhere else with this.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Where are they going? Okay, they are going to go for Roche. So Warcry popped pretty early here, but they have the lifesteal, so they'll just go in. With the Viscous Nasal Goo, they'll be able to bring down Roshan pretty quickly. God's Strength as well. They'll sack the tier 2 for Roshan, get the Aegis, and try to do something based on that. But it is worth noting there's no TP scroll for ZYF. RTK does have one. So one of these guys will be making their way back home. The other kind of locked in a weird spot while their base is getting pushed in. So we'll see. For right now, God's Strength on cooldown. Roche given hey, the Aegis is actually given to RTK. Very interesting. So again, they trade the tier 2 for it. The fortification comes through, but I don't think they fight this, and the tier 2 will fall to Fan.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
So we're just going to see RTK pretty confident now that he has the Aegis the Immortal in his hands. Spearbreaker looking towards the BKB, and Undying too. It seems like really EP have this kind of really good idea of how their tempo is supposed to work, where they kind of gain this momentum, they want to secure it, and they pick up a bunch of BKBs on all the heroes to make sure that they can continue to take fights. And that means that although their 40-minute game is a little weaker, here at 23 minutes they know that they can end the game within 10. So they know that they only need to use 2 or 3 BKB charges to make that goal happen, and so they think very present tense. They don't worry about the future, they think about here and now, what they can do to make themselves stronger, and these BKBs are the perfect item. They don't have to worry about the chainstone of the Light Strike Array, Split Earth, Stormhammer. They can counter out the Yule's Initiation, just all this good stuff. They really have so much to work with now, and Ehome, they're backed into a corner. Even with the Aegis, I don't know if they feel confident on the high ground, but wards are pinged out. It's like a Sky Rathian type thing. I've never seen this, but there's feathers, there's wings, there's a little shield. Not a very low res shield, but a shield nonetheless. I don't know. Sorry, I like my ward cosmetics, guys. But we're gonna see DDC getting charged on all by himself, but luckily it is going to be Lanham to actually find a charge the other way. They're going to just lift out of the charge instead of chain stunning it. But either way, they get the Stormhammer. They get a kill onto the Spiritbreaker. But can they go for more? A glimpse back. Fan right on the front line. Man mode from Fan. Oh, this could be a huge mistake. He gets hit by the Laguna. Now the Yule's Light Strike Array. I have no idea why PL went that deep that quickly. But there you go. 2 kills going the way of Ehome. And we'll see a chunk of change going to Rubik. 900 cash money. Let's see what he does with it. 2,400 gold. Blink Dagger. Aghanim Scepter. Really, whatever he wants to go with here. And he goes for the Blink. So, good maneuverability. Could steal some better spells. Use some better spells. Whatever he really wants to do. So, I mean, right now, with that small victory, Ehome are able to kind of take a fight back a little bit, and double checking something, sorry. And yeah, Ehome are able to take it back a little bit, gain some momentum, gain some map control, farm up some Ancients. Sven just stacked this for a double, and they'll get some dewarding on, so they'll get some map control back. The Gargoyle reigns supreme as the Winged Beast. But we're going to see those items come out that I was talking about. BKB on the Undying, soon to be on the Spiritbreaker, and thereafter on the Brewmaster. Or actually, he wins. He had 2,500 gold. But in the end, it's really just all about them getting on the front line, moving in together aggressively, and taking it to Ehome before they're really ready to bounce back. They have some good core heroes here. A nice tri-core with the Lina, the Sven, and the Bristleback, but they need more items. I mean, RTK probably wants to go for like an Assault Karas here. Sven would love to be able to build up one more thing like Crit. And then, of course, the Lina, she needs that Aghanim Scepter, but she goes for a BKB instead. So, feeling a little bit too pressured from the Brewmaster and the Disruptor, and she wants to kind of negate the disables they're putting out against her. And that makes sense. I mean, the Diffusal Blade's out there as well, so that's pretty frustrating as a Lina to deal with, and overall, this BKB is going to get at least a guarantee that she'll get her spells out in the fights. Although they'll be a little bit weaker compared to the Ags, they'll be at least hitting the field as she intends. So, not much else happening. It's the calm before the storm here. We got an Invis Rune on Brewmaster. He'll scout things out, but as far as finding the openings here, I don't really see much changing just yet. The battlefields, the lines have been drawn, and they're going to wait for Roshan probably to do anything more than what we've already seen. Maybe one smoke play. Let's see, EP smokes. They do have one in stock and one cooling and one in inventory. So yeah, they can definitely go for a smoke ink and then still have one for the Rosh easily. Maybe two. But Ehome are going to be the ones to take the initiative. They pushed out all their lanes, so they're trying to make it subtle, and they're going to go in with this Warcry play here. Penny Tang leading the charge, loses his smoke. They know fans here. They're going to go. No blind light strike right, just a blink lift, and going to go to try to stop the split, but he gets the BKB off, and the static kinetic, the tombstone comes out. So many different things to deal with right now, but they don't know who to focus. They have absolutely no focus. They go for the tombstone with the God's Strength, but now RTK being focused down, the mech already used, and Sven already down. Penny Tang goes down as well in the back, and they just got torn apart there. They didn't know who to focus, and then the spells started flying from EP. They got down some good control with the tombstone, the kinetic static, and Ehome, they just were completely lost in that fight. They did almost no damage. That was very awkward indeed. I mean, they get the blink lift on the Brewmaster, but because he got a BKB off, they couldn't focus him. They had the intention of focusing on the Brew, preventing everything in terms of split, but he pops BKB, he gets the split, and they didn't know what to do from there. That broke down very quickly. They expected like a 5v1, it turned into a 5v5, and they weren't ready for it. Now, they're not ready for defending their high ground as two Leshrac and Rube picked off, and that might just be the game. Picking off these heroes at this stage is gonna cost them the entire lane of racks, and Ehome, the only thing they can do is run in 1 by 1 right now. Like, maybe if they buy back on the Leshrac, they can try it 4v5, but right now, it's looking really bad. Leshrac has to buy back, though. They can't go 3v5. They can barely fight 5v5. They can't go without everyone. Maybe go without the Rubik, just buy back on the Leshrac, but they're trying to wait it out, and they're just going to die in the meantime. These guys are going to be dead before Leshrac respawns, and that's going to cost them the game. God's Strength is not going to be enough for ZYF. He will kill off Old Chicken, but he'll go down himself. RTK out of mana, and soon to be out of life. One charge from the Spirit Breaker, he'll go down, and under the Tombstone, Penny Tang is getting slowed to a crawl. Oh, man, RTK, one right click from death. And they're just going in 1 by 1 now. Fan gonna focus the racks here. Range Barracks gonna be going down. Not yet. Actually gonna be disengaging. Land him with the charge. They're looking for more. They're looking to route them from the base, but Cardi's killing the racks. The Illusion's killing the racks. It matters more than the chase. And it is actually gonna be the death of that Range Barracks. So we're gonna see a big gold swing in favor of EP. And that is a really big deal for them, pulling forward there. Still, Ehome, without buying back on the Leshrac, are able to hold the high ground without being wiped out. It looked bad at first, but they did kill the Brewmaster pretty early there. Got a good swing in there and a good crit from the Sven, and it did kill off the Brewmaster. So, we'll say that it could have been worse, and Ehome still have 5 racks remaining. But just as a quick reminder, guys, in 6.84, the range racks bounty was buffed up, and now from 100 gold per hero to 225 per hero. So that means that just based on the fact that the racks died, that gives you like 1,200 gold to EP as a whole. So you're going to still see a spike in their favor, despite the fight not being completely successful. So, right now, Hardest Ras coming out on the Phantom Lancer. Doesn't even bother with the Manta style. Just says, I need health, I need my mana burn, and I am good to go. And he is looking really good to just walk up to the high ground now. Very confident. We're going to see just a jump onto the Rubik here. He's got the Flesh Golem earlier, but, I mean, they punish him with a blink and a smackdown. Nether Strike was really all they had to use on that one, honestly. But we're going to see them go right down bottom. The melee rack's exposed. And what can they do to Phantom Lancer now that he has the heart? DDC, oh my gosh! The mana burn and the bash coming through to wreck this Leshrac. And he's just going to get glimpsed back. The Yule's against him. It's all got to be Sven. All or nothing. Everything relying on him doing work. He's trying to kill Brewlings. He's trying to kill Illusions. In the end, he's not doing anything with this BKB. And now he's going to get controlled. Caught inside the Static Storm. Getting bashed down by the charge. And that is going to be him going down. Having to buy back for the last stand here in the Dire base. Penny Tang under his tier 4s will be falling, and Old Chicken still kicking. It's going to be Fan to get caught by the stun, though. Doppelganger away, just barely surviving and waiting for the heart regen to kick in. Lei will go in retreat. Has to get some Decay stacks to actually survive here, or maybe just a Force Staff. Decay hits on 2, forced away, but still gonna be dying in the end. Phantom Lancer regenning a lot with this Heart of Tarrasque, but now he's all by himself. All alone, needs to dodge the stun. Oh no, he gets hit by the Split Earth, and he will go down. Ehome bringing it back from the brink. They will find a number of kills, looking to finish off a 4th. LT Force Staff, really nice, but it's not enough to keep him alive. He goes down in the end. It's a 4 for 2 with the Sven buying back. Oh, actually, Leshrac bought back too. It was so chaotic I didn't actually catch that, but as you can see, he did buy back there, and yeah, he still profits from it in the end, but it's been a really tough game for Ehome, and every single move they make just has to be perfect. At that point, getting picked off the way they have been, they bring everything they can to that fight, and they're actually able to rout EP, bringing it back just a little bit here. But you'll see, the golden experience swing is still not as favorable as it could be. They'll get a little bit of comeback with how far behind they are, but not enough to give them confidence in this game. They have to get big items. They really do. So RTK, he's had the Vladimir's for a little bit, but he's got 3,500 banked up for the next thing. I'm not sure if he goes for like a Heart of his own, goes for AC. Needs to get something. In the meantime, Lena, pretty far off anything, honestly. She got the BKB, and now she only has 1,500 banked up. I feel like she should have more, but just these fights have been harder for her than I expected. And her net worth is down at 11.3k. Rubik's got the Glimmer Cape. Not Glitter Cape. Glimmer Cape. And let's see what that's really going to prevent. I mean, first of all, Invis is nice in general this game. I mean, there's only Sentry Wards on the Disruptor, so they're not going to really expect it. And they might get an initiation with the Lena, and that in of itself would be pretty good. We have an Invisor on the Brewmaster. They don't have detection for that. But the really big aspect of Glimmer Cape is actually the magic resistance you give to somebody for those 5 seconds. For 5 seconds, you give them 2/3 extra magic resistance. It's just essentially taking away almost all the magic damage they're going to take. Like, they naturally mitigate 25%. You get that 66%, and I don't know, they're taking maybe like 20% of magical damage. That means that the Static Storm doesn't really hurt that hard. The Thunderclap, Soul Rip, any of the Spirit Breaker's abilities, those do magic damage. I don't know, it's not that great this game. There's not crazy good casters as much as there are heavy right clicks coming in, but it's a nice pickup. And with the Warcry active, they're already pretty much immune to physical damage with the 20 armor, so getting in that extra Grimble Cape is huge. But ZYF, he bought back. He can't die here, but he doesn't have a TP scroll. The Aegis is going to go down quick. He has to fight with his BKB God Strength. They get the Tombstone down. RTK will fall, though, and now he has to pop everything. ZYF caught out by himself. God Strength is here. The Warcry is active. He gets a stun, but he's getting kited, and they're just going to wait out the BKB. Now fighting him. They're going to be able to bring him down. That is 88 seconds without the Sven. Caught out across the map with no support. ROTK and ZYF have just really shown far too much arrogance this game in how they can fight and how they can survive and how they assume they can't be picked off by EP. EP have a ganking lineup that can find openings with Glimpse, with the charge, with Blink Initiation, and they are not respecting that whatsoever. And it's hubris, it really is. Just that punishes Ehome in the end. Now without Sven, they're going to be losing their melee racks. They might be losing more. Going over to buyback chart, we see only the Bristleback has buyback. And if there's a full 5-on-5 engagement, even when the Sven does respawn, I'm not sure how Ehome take that. But we'll see right now. Maelstrom coming out from Lena, a bit of DPS coming from her as a last ditch. And we'll see what she can do with it. Landon pops a Glitter Cape, just doing some damage, but it is going to be the Undying to go down first with a nice Laguna Blade. That actually should force EP back. Now they go for the Yules. Clips on RTK, he's gone, but Penny Tank still in the fight. Old Chicken whacking away with his big club here. BKB'd up. Now pops the Primal Split and Tornadoes up RTK. They glimpse him back, now they Tornado him. They're taking him out of the fight pretty hardcore. Landon just waiting around, glimmering it up, turning invis, but needs to find something better than Decay to turn this fight further. They're just going to go follow back. RTK again taken out of the fight for the third time this game, but Landon on the front line does find Kinetic Field. He steals that, they lift him out, they stun him up, and that is going to be the death of LT. So 2 go down, but they did lose their melee racks. They did lose their tier 3, and a little bit of HP, but not much on the racks. Glimmer, not Glitter Cape. It does make sense how sparkly it is, but it is a Glimmer Cape, and I'll have to get used to that one. All the other items I think I've got a pretty good handle on. The Moon Shard, the Octarine Core, the Lotus Orb. But that Glimmer Cape is a little weird to me. And speaking of Lotus Orb, I don't think it was used last fight, but it has been picked up here on the Spirit Breaker. It encompasses the Plate Mail and the Perseverance, I believe, and it allows them to reflect things like Laguna Blade and back on their target. Now, from what I remember from reading up a few interaction posts, there have been videos made, there have been random text posts that have been records and archives of how these spells interact with the Lotus Orb. As far as what I recall, the Stormhammer will not reflect back. It does, because it kind of becomes an AoE projectile, it's not as single target oriented, and as far as I've heard, Stormhammer does not reflect back via Lotus Orb. But we're going to see RTK get caught out here, and that might be him having to buy back. Oh no, he doesn't have it! He died once too many, and now he's 1,000 gold gone. Oh no. He got his BKB, but he actually loses his life for the next 60 seconds. There is, however, backdoor protection. The creep wave will be marching in, and with it, they'll go on the racks. It's going to be the last stand for Ehome. I said that a number of times, but this might be just the last stand. They have got to make this work perfectly for them. Lotus Orb is up on Old Chicken. He can do whatever he wants, but it's going to be Lei that gets targeted and focused down. BKB running away, pops the Shiva's Guard, and now Sven is out of immunity. It's going to be the Primal Split, actually taking down 2 Brewlings. There's only going to be the Earth one left, but they still kill off ZYF. He's down for 75, and they're going to focus down Lena next, taking her out of Tornado. She BKBs, she's fine. And it is actually going to be a nice double stun, Lotus Orb or not. Will it be a double Laguna? No, not going to be Lagunaing back and forth. Fan's going to be here trying to clean things up, and it looks like he'll succeed. Hitting into Penny Tank. He's going to be able to finish things off. Ehome, they call it GG now. They've lost too much. Chaotic fights as they are, it's EP to resoundingly win, but the vast majority of them. And now 41-23 EP, take it away. It took a little while there, but with less than 40 minutes on the clock, it's still a very awesome game to cast. Oh man, kill and a half a minute. Energy Pacemaker really just bringing in the hard-hitting tempo, while Fan, again, rocks a massive GPM. 547, topping out the charts for this game, and that actually just brings it home for them against Ehome. Energy Pacemaker gaming, man. Value bet indeed. These 6.84, the tier 1 teams really seem to be struggling here. And adapting to the tempo, adapting to the strategies. I really liked Ehome's draft in general, but oh man, their tactics in this game just really weren't where they needed to be. They needed some better shot calls. RTK, a little bit too ambitious with some of his movements, and probably goading a few of his allies into some bad spots too. So I'm not going to blame any one person, because I don't know how they communicate within the team, other than that RTK is the captain, and I've seen his videos of him shouting to go, 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 but there are some fights you just can't take, man, and they might have to tone it down a little bit and examine the replay to kind of reconsider some of their decision making in this specific match. But we're going to be going into another iLeague game very shortly here in the group stage. This concludes this match 2-0 in favor of Energy Pacemaker. But that's just our first 2-game series for today. Our next one is going to be C-Deck versus Braveheart in another 2-game series coming up in just a few minutes. That's game number 3 of our 8-game marathon here for Chinese Dota. 6.84 here, bright and early in the morning for me, but wherever you are in the world, thanks for tuning in. Morning, afternoon, or evening. It's a pleasure to have you guys here and to broadcast for you. Ehome, EP played a good game, but Energy Pacemaker, man, they were just able to stomp all over them, it seemed. Ehome really gotta scrim a bit. I think they really just gotta take a bit of a breather here and really re-examine what they're capable of in this patch. But anyways, that's my 2 cents for whatever they're worth, and we're going to be going into our 3rd game very shortly here. The lobby should be up, the team should be getting in, and I'll be happy to be able to cover that for you guys in just a few minutes here. If you guys enjoyed the commentary, look me up on twitter.com/blazecasting, and of course, check out beyondthesummit.tv, the coverage hub for all things BTS. See you guys soon.